United States submarine base at Key West, Florida. A dispatch that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such objects exist.
Hi.
Hi.
We'll give you guys a little slice of Patreon. Yes, you may have noticed we are recording every other week. It's because we're busy. We're busy and we're a moment away from a mental breakdown. So please let us have a week in our little things. Okay? Okay, thanks. Anyway, hey, what's up? My name is Noelle and I practiced self-discipline for a very long time because I saved up for all of the Pokemon the card game mobile players. Mm-hmm. I had 135 hourglasses saved up for this launch that just happened today.
She did. Yeah.
Okay. Which means I was being frugal. Which means while everyone else was fucking pulling hollows and showing them off, I was suffering with my free pack a day because I'm not paying that fucking game either. Microtransactions are how you don't get the good stuff because they know you're going to pay for it anyway. So I don't. I play for free. So I waited. And then the cards came out today. And I did, for the first time, 10 packs at once.
And I bet it's quite the feeling, but
it should have been a rush and a release.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch, heartbreaking, difficult to get through. When I had to
watch your screen recording of it. How do you think I felt?
I screen recorded it because I was like, this is gonna be so sick. And then I was like, oh, everyone gets to watch my Unaliving live.
So bad. It was just comment after comment after comment.
Comment after comment after comment and duplicates of comment. And I will also say that usually on like a launch day, of a new pack, it feels like they give you at least one. They give you at least one. I didn't get any. And I technically did 11 packs that day. Not a single fucking thing. The only holo I got was from last pack. Not even new.
Yeah. Actually, I have something to say. You reminded me that I had a free booster to open, and I did just pull a full face promo art. So
are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not. No, I'm BFFRN right now. I got this guy. A Goldengo. That's a full face art though, right?
Yeah, that's full face. Oh my fucking god!
You reminded me that I hadn't done my free pack yet.
Oh my fucking
Look at that little
god.
guy. Look at that. Look at him just throwing gold in the air. He's like raining love down on me and me specifically.
Yeah.
This is a great feeling.
Must be nice. Also, Chelsea opened a God pack, which I was following TikTok discourse about God packs, which is like where everything is a holo and a shiny. And everyone was like, this isn't real. This is fake. And then Chelsea pulled one and she wasn't even excited and she didn't even care. And I said, wow, why do good things happen to people who don't deserve it?
Here's the thing, Noelle, is when you send me recordings of you pulling straight garbage and then I get a God pack, I'm like, this is for me to enjoy.
Yeah.
But then you also fucking, speaking of pulling shit, I pull arbitrary cards that have no value. You found a Juicy Couture purse and the fucking DI and I about peed my pants. I'm so jealous. I've been thinking about that all day.
That purse is going for $500 right now and like everywhere, $400, $500.
Oh my god, it's priceless in my heart.
That's what I'm saying. I'm never going to get rid of it. I said, oh, that's crazy because I'm never going to get rid of that. So
yeah.
But anyway, who are you?
Oh, and I'm Chelsea. I'm a connoisseur of trinkets.
You are. You just showed me a little Snorlax. I can see your Furby in the background, and hopefully you get financial approval.
Furbies. You're actually looking at multiple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Furbies. And if you'll notice some Furby art right here, it's the girl with a pearl earring, but with a Furby face.
It's incredible.
And if you want me to tilt my camera, there'll be more Furbies up there.
Oh my god. Speaking of trinkets, before we get into a very serious episode, you know the axolotl Build-A-Bears? God, this is so consumption core coded. I'm sorry. Okay.
We're changing.
I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. The axolotl Build-A-Bear that you and I like foamed over the mouth over, and it was like sold out forever, and we had alarms set to get it.
Oh, it's on its like 50th release.
Yeah. Well, not only that, guess what I found in the DI for $2? Yep.
That's infuriating.
Yep. I grabbed it and it had a fucking bathrobe on. I got it. It had a bathrobe
Hell
on.
yeah. Hell yeah.
And I got it and I was like, mine. But I gave it to friend of the podcast, Keelan, because she doesn't have a single
She deserves
Build-A-Bear.
it.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
this
We
is
should
good
take her to
karma.
Build-A-Bear.
I know. She got me a Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, she needs to chase that high.
That's what I said. She got me the Halloween limited edition Kuromi that
Yeah.
sold out immediately, and it was in full Frankenstein attire with a
Yeah.
pumpkin spice smell inside of it. And I
Man, we
said,
got to take Kaylin there.
here's a crusty Axel. No, it wasn't crusty. It had a fucking bathrobe on.
Oh, I felt like royalty when I walked in there with my Mothman to get it stuffed. So they asked to take pictures of it, and I was like, I guess.
Don't get your grubby little poor fingers on it. I'm sorry, that's so bad. That's so evil. Evil and dark
Oh,
twisted.
yeah.
Anyway, speaking of
Yeah, none of this has anything to do with what we're talking about today.
no, we're gonna take our consumption core hats off and stop being dirty little capitalist pigs.
To be fair, I did consumption core and buy a book that I had been wanting, and then it led me to this topic.
I think I've made a deal with myself that if I buy another book, I need to go donate to.
Oh, I would never do that with my comic books.
The way you said that so confidently. Oh, I'll never do that. But like to the local like community libraries that people like pop up.
Not with my comics.
Well,
Fuck
not
no.
your
I'll
comics,
donate some of
psycho.
Oliver's books.
My God. You need
All
to
of the
be
books I have are fire. You think I'm
need-
donating this? This is
What?
backwoods witchcraft, baby.
No, that's sick. We need to fucking repent to the consumption core gods because like we've been doing a lot. That's crazy.
We did repent. We donated $100 to Armed Queers.
That's true for their Cuba initiative. But
Wow.
that's only like one Hail Mary. But
Oh.
that's fine. I'll do some community outreach on our behalf so we can open more fucking trinkets.
No, I need the trinkets. Oh my gosh, we're getting off.
Okay, anyway.
What do you think about drag queens, Noelle?
Love them. I love drag queens. Drag queens make the world go round.
Now, pretending that you are just know nothing about the topic at hand. When I say America's drag queen, who are you probably going to think of?
Trixie Mattel.
Or RuPaul?
Well,
There's really no wrong answer, right?
Wow, really shows what side of the corn we're on, huh?
So, man, what if I was going to tell you that the America's first drag queen came about during the Civil War?
That would be so slay. I hope you're telling me a truth.
I am telling you a truth. This is not the Smithsonian Giants all over again, though I still maintain that's true. I just haven't read the book that's told me that yet. I haven't donated that book because I haven't read it yet.
It
But-
doesn't exist.
We're getting really into stories that history has forgotten lately.
Yes.
It's part of our community outreach to
Mhm.
teach people. We've been very, very interested in some of it. So we're going to bring another one to you today. It is a story that history almost forgot until now. And also when a lot of other people wrote about it before us. Primarily Bob the Drag Queen is the most recent one. But anyway, this is a story buried beneath layers of erasure, shame, and silence. It's a story of a man born in chains who rose in satin. A man who threw balls when the world threw stones, and a man who fought back before the stone wall was even a brick in the wall. His name was William Dorsey Swann, and he was the first self-proclaimed drag queen in American history.
Wow. Powerful open. I had no idea about this.
Me either until I read the book, until I finished the book today.
God, this is the people's history.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Okay.
wait until you look him up and see what he looked like. The first
Oh.
picture that pops up on Google. He was born in March of 1860 in a small town of Hancock, Maryland, under the shadow of the Civil War. William Dorsey Swann began his life as property. He was legally owned by a white woman named Anne Murray, a plantation matriarch. Swann was one of 13 siblings, part of a large enslaved family whose lives were counted in labor, not legacy. The records from this period are scarce and impersonal. There's no diaries, no family photos, no letters in his handwriting. The world did not care to document the interior lives of enslaved people, and the queer lives of those even less so. Yet Swann's defiant existence rises from the margins through police reports, faded newspaper clippings, and the faint echoes of memories kept alive by those who witnessed his quiet revolution.
You say quiet revolution, and I agree on paper to a white American historian it is. But I look up William Dorsey Swann, and the first image I see, as you say, is one of the most glamorous, show-stopping, almost effervescent, radiating energy, just an icon of all icons. This is incredible. This is wild that
It not to be dramatic, but looking at the photos of him makes my heart hurt that we were robbed of this man's story because of and why.
This posing, this is, I'm not even joking, bitch.
It doesn't look historical, does it? It looks modern.
It looks like we're getting stills from like a voguing runway, like battle.
You could put this on Vogue and people wouldn't clock it.
This is incredible. It's also just like the posing, the hands, the face.
Mm-hmm.
It's lethal. It's modern. It's
looks
serving.
like he's voguing the house down boots, dare I say.
Wow. Okay.
So at the time of Swann's birth, the country was unraveling. It seemed strained by war, ideology, and shifting gender norms. The Civil War was not just a battle over land and labor. It was a reckoning with identity, power, and visibility. As white men marched to the front lines, the absence of patriarchal oversight disrupted every household and plantation. Women in both the North and South stepped into roles that were long denied to them. They were now tending fields, running estates, nursing the wounded, and organizing militias. Some cut their hair, bound their chests, and enlisted in the military disguised as men, risking death for a chance to live and be seen differently. And these disruptions did not erase gender roles, but they definitely cracked their foundation, revealing how fragile the boundaries between man and woman has always been. In the cities, prostitution exploded. It was driven by desperation, dislocation, and the economic void left by war. In Washington, D.C. alone, over 7,500 quote-unquote public women were reported by 1864. Brothels became makeshift havens for women, gender nonconforming people, and others whose bodies had always been transactional under capitalism and patriarchy. Gender expression was reshaped in the shadows of necessity. And in theater, literature, and soldiers' lore, stories of cross-dressing and blurred identities circulated widely. The campfire was not just a place of strategy, but of storytelling, of fantasy, of longing, and alternate selves. But for enslaved people, especially those who deviated from heterosexual or gender norms, this period was not just one of fluidity, but also a profound danger. Enslaved bodies had never been their own to begin with. For queer enslaved individuals, existence itself was criminalized in silence. There were no legal protections. No names recorded, no kinship honored, no dignity preserved. If queer enslaved people were discovered, they were not only whipped or shamed, but they were sometimes sold, mutilated, or killed. Rape was not an aberration, and it was routine, institutional, and unpunished. So if you were Black and different, you weren't just unwanted. You were disposable. You were a warning to others. And their identities were hidden out of necessity, expressed only in coded glances, whispered prayers, or the quiet rebellion of self-adornment in the privacy of night. Sexual violence was omnipresent. Black women, men, and children were assaulted with impunity, and the law did not recognize rape if the victim was enslaved. To be seen as deviant within this already brutal system was to invite another layer of erasure and another layer of punishment.
This is so heavy to digest, not only because it's our history and it's, the blood that dyed the fabric red in the American flag, but that we are living in a time period right now where not only is this version of history completely erased from, textbooks and history teachings, but that the brutal mistreatment of enslaved people and just that like queer people have always existed. You know what I mean? We have nothing but proof of it throughout history and time and different societies. But to and obviously we all know, right? We all know, but it's so wild to see just this like tangible truth of history and of like the people's history, and to have people deny it while looking straight at it. It's just crazy. It's heavy. It's interesting. I don't know. It's so wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's heavy, but considering that someone like him could emerge in what we're going to learn about under not only during the Civil War, but as a slave.
Yeah.
It like instills a sort of hope that people will continue to occupy those spaces regardless of what you're going to do to them.
Absolutely. So, I also think it's like, it's heavy to remember that like we had such beautiful individuals occupying space at all times, and there has always been this like heavy hand to try to like suppress them and make them an other and remove them of their autonomy. But you can't, like, you literally can't. Doesn't matter how if you result in sexual violence or rape as it happened here, or murder, like you can't erase like these people and the power that they have. And it's just, I don't know, it's heavy because of all of that. It's wild. I don't know. This country can be so ugly and yet so beautiful. What a dichotomy we live in, right?
Right. Yeah. I think that's the perfect way to describe it. Like, hideous, but then you see shit like this and you're like, maybe we'll be okay.
Yeah.
You have to hope we'll be okay. So Swann's emergence into this world as a Black, enslaved, and queer person was not just improbable, but it was actually pretty miraculous. And his identity was not born in a vacuum. It was born into a country at war with itself, where gender was bending under pressure and where enslaved people were fighting for the right to live, and where queerness flickered like candlelight in shuttered rooms. He emerged from this chaos not in hiding, but eventually in satin, not in silence, but in music and movement. And he would one day carve out a place in the world, not in spite of his queerness and Blackness, but through them. Maryland, while not part of the Confederacy, was a border state deeply entangled in slavery's cruelty. The region around Hancock was a passage for many enslaved people fleeing towards the Mason-Dixon line. But for William and his family, escape was not immediate. And theirs was the long, grinding route to freedom, 1 mile at a time. And after emancipation, thanks to the Compensated Emancipation Act of 1862 in D.C. and the broader impact of the 13th Amendment, his parents somehow managed to buy a small plot of land. And for a family born into bondage, this was a seismic shift. They moved from the status of property to proprietors of land. And it was a fragile, uncertain foothold in society, still hostile to their very presence. And as a young man, Swann took work as a hotel waiter and later found employment at the Spencerian Business College, an early commercial school in Washington, D.C. that taught clerical and office skills. And he was not merely laboring to survive. He was reaching for something more: literacy, education, and respectability. And these were dangerous aspirations for a Black man in post-Reconstruction America, and even more so for someone whose private life transgressed the rigid codes of gender and sexuality of the era. And at the age of 24, Swann was arrested for petty larceny. He had stolen books from the Washington County Library, along with some items from the home of Henry and Sarah Spencer, the very people who employed him. And it wasn't about theft. It was more about access to knowledge, about claiming something that was never freely given to people like him. And in today's world, this act might be seen as a misdemeanor, but in 1882, it actually earned him 7 months in jail.
Wow. And
the Spencers, perhaps recognizing his intellect and good nature, joined with the sentencing judge and the assistant U.S. Attorney General in filing a petition for presidential clemency. They wanted him out. You're still in books. they saw a lot of potential in him. And in that document, preserved in the pardon case files of the National Archives, they describe Swann as, quote, free from vice, industrious, refined in his habits and associations, gentle in his disposition, and courteous in his bearing, end quote. They added that he had only taken the books to improve himself and that he had obviously sincerely regretted the act. They praised his desire to better his station, to care for his family, and pledged to rehire him as a janitor at the college for life. Despite this support, it remains unclear if that pardon was ever granted. But what is clear is that Swann's journey was never linear and never simple. He was a man living between the lines of respectability and rebellion, navigating a world that offered no roadmap for someone like him. But it was precisely within that tension between the image others wanted him to uphold and the truth he longed to live that Swann began to craft his own blueprint. He was done asking for permission to exist, and respectability had not saved him, and obedience had not protected him. So he turned inward, towards the life he wanted, and outward, towards those who needed it too. And by the 1880s, in the heart of Washington, D.C., the city was teetering between Southern hostility and Northern formality, and William Dorsey Swann had claimed a title that the world refused to grant him, the Queen. He did
Incredible.
Not I know, right? I just want to be like, cat, kitty, cat, cat. Oh, it's like, do the duck walk down the runway. Like, I think that's so fucking sick for someone to call themselves the Queen at that time.
Also to manifest this destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's what an icon, what a transcendent icon, because to call himself the Queen and then acknowledge in the year 2025 that vernacular has become the nomenclature. It's become this.
Yeah.
Become the grammar, it's become written into the books, and he was just claiming it as his own identity. It's just iconic. You can't, it's moments like these, where people say like art is never really original because something is always inspired by something else.
Yeah.
It's moments like these where I go, not all the time, not always, because some people are so boldly original that they're the source, they're the first, and like this is it.
Yeah, and it's amazing too to just be like, I don't like where America came from by running from its king. I don't like the presidents that don't protect me. So I'm going to get my own subjects and I'm going to rule them as their queen. Like, I think the matriarchy of like pulling that in, especially how that's reflected with all the men went to war. So you had an entire generation of just children tied in with their mothers. We saw it like also with like World War II, and then you get like an entire cultural shift because the empathy that women tend to bring in the household.
Yeah, it's also just the imagery of like a 1800s Black man who like escaped slavery despite it still being ever present, ever pushing, ever punishing, who has had like all of their rights and liberties and opportunities taken from him, and they're just carving their way through, and to own that name as like a sense of self is just beyond iconic. It's just so cool.
He's like, I don't have a closet, I have a throne. So,
yeah, that's exactly it.
And so he definitely did not whisper this title in shame. He wore it like a crown stitched in satin. He built a realm in back alleys and rented row houses, transformed hidden parlors into sacred spaces where Black men, many of them born into slavery, could exist as something more than what the world allowed. And these were not mere parties. They were declarations of being. In a society that punished their skin and criminalized their joy, Swann's drag balls were nothing short of spiritual resistance. And to simply gather in those rooms was a revolutionary act. Invitations were passed discreetly, sometimes murmured in the corners of the YMCA, or handed off in fleeting glances amongst messengers, waiters, coachmen, and cooks.
The YMCA forever being like an iconic gay establishment.
I know. That's why the Village people sing about it so often.
I know.
I can't believe they turned coat on us and went to support Trump.
No, they didn't. They didn't. Trump took that song because he doesn't know that it's a song about gay hookups. Sorry, that's the truth.
They licensed it to him.
But
unless
who?
He took it.
I think he took it. I think he took it because to him, he's like, this is a catchy American song that everyone knows the little dance to, and bitches love a little dance. Meanwhile, that's a song about gay hookups. That's about gay
The Village
hookups,
people's
bitch.
on thin ice until I can determine otherwise.
I bet that it's not the actual village people who wrote the song. I bet it's like village descendants.
Their grandmother's was a village princess. Those are the ones who licensed it out.
Yeah, exactly.
And all these people knew, each guest to these drag balls knew the risk. There was arrest, public shaming, unemployment, beatings, or worse. But they came anyway. They dressed in cream-colored silks and satins, corsets were tightened, bustles were flaring, and powdered wigs were perched like armor. And they came to walk the cakewalk, a dance rooted in enslavement once used to mock the ostentatious airs of plantation owners, now reborn as an expression of elegance and satire, pride and parody. Accompanied by banjos and fiddles, the music was more than rhythm. It was their survival with a melody.
This is the start of ballroom.
Isn't that fucking sick?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I was gooped too. All of this has existed within the cultural zeitgeist, and they tried to erase the fucking man who gave it to us.
My God. Oh my God. The fact that ballroom drag was created in like 1800s
by former black slaves.
Yes. While there's still infighting between like southern states and the north. Oh my God.
Isn't that amazing?
And the cakewalk with like this is like a mocking dance to make fun of like rich fucking evil pompous plantation owners, and it's like that morphing into voguing and like posing. Oh, it's fucking, oh my God, dude.
I dare say the cake on my face, because I thought I was pretty educated about drag culture, and I now am like, I didn't know shit.
I know.
Bitch, I knew nothing.
Have you seen what is it, Paris is Burning?
Yeah.
Really thought I was like, we're continuing to learn, we're continuing to understand, we're continuing to appreciate. I'm an asshole. Oh my God.
I just got a divine tattoo. And I didn't know any of this. I'm a fraud.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put a little mustache on her to disguise her until I learn more.
I mean, but you're doing it, you're learning now, and that's what matters.
We're learning together. On April 12th, 1888, that fragile sanctuary was shattered. It was Swann's 30th birthday, and the Washington Post ran the headline, N-word dive rated.
Oh my God.
Yeah. 13 men were arrested that night, and some were caught and beaten in the streets. Others lost their jobs the next day. One was rumored to have taken his own life weeks later. There were no support groups, no headlines demanding justice. And the silence that followed was not peace. It was fear. The kind that tightens on your chest every time someone knocks on the door too hard. And Swann described mockingly as, quote, arrayed in a gorgeous dress of cream-colored satin, end quote, stood between the police and his guests. They raided the fuck out of this ball that he was throwing. He did not cower. He did not apologize. Instead, he got nose to nose with an officer, and this is a direct quote. He said, "You is no gentleman." And it was such a powerful retort at that time, because it was an absolute refusal to be shamed. A former slave nose to nose with the fucking white police saying, "You is no gentleman." Ugh. I want to put that on a shirt.
Yeah. Jeez.
But the raids kept coming. In the year before, 1887, another ball was invaded. 6 black men were charged for simply wearing dresses, and the court called them suspicious characters, a vague and sinister term that masked its true meaning, which was deviants, queers, and criminals. Gee, I wonder if we're doing any of that to this day.
Yeah, I wonder.
The press had no mercy, and the National Republican newspaper reduced them to a spectacle, calling them a lecherous gang of sexual perverts.
History repeats itself, bitch.
I know. I love it when everybody's like, well, the Republicans and Democrats switched. And it's like trying to shit on like Democrats or whatever. And I'm like, we all suck.
Yeah.
Like, get over yourself.
Yep.
We all allowed this to happen in history. You get no redemption.
Yep.
And And the medical establishment weighed in too. In 1893, Dr. Charles Hamilton Hughes labeled Swann and his companions as colored orthopaths, pathologizing their very existence. And for those of you wondering what this word means, orthopath, I tried to copy it. Oh my God. Orthopath. An orthopath is a term that describes an abnormality of sexual desire. It is a person who is affected by erotopathy. I think I'm doing the syllable on the wrong thing. It's like eroticism, the sickness of eroticism. So erotopath. Like
we'll asphyxiation.
Yeah.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Or erotic.
This will be the same study that motherfuckers reference when, like, it's going to be some fucking study from 1893 with Dr. Charles Hamilton telling you to put fucking leeches on your pussy. They're going to reference his medical journal about, like, drag. And that's what they're using today on Capitol Hill.
Copy-paste. Yeah. Copy-paste for trans people right now.
Yep.
Like medical journals, I'm not like, just decide what I'm talking about now. Medical journals cataloged them like diseases. Queerness was classified as a sexual inversion, a defect of the soul. Blackness, already seen as inferior at the time, was further degraded when attached to queerness. It was a perfect storm of pathology and prejudice, justification for sterilization, confinement, and worse. And these weren't isolated views. They reflected a culture determined to exterminate any expression of gender or desire that fell outside a narrow, brutal norm. Something that we're still fucking doing today. Because, like, fine, be gay, but you can't be Black and gay. Mm-hmm. Fine, you can be a woman, but you can't be a trans woman. Mm-hmm. Like, all of these different, or like, we will pretend that we will tolerate one thing until we categorize it with something worse. Mm-hmm. And at the time, it just happened to be Black and queer. So Swann existed at a triple intersection of danger. He is Black, formerly enslaved, and a queer in America that punished each of these identities with systemic violence.
Still.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Every time he put on a dress, he put his life in jeopardy. Because to wear lace as a man was to gamble with jail time, to apply powder was to risk public ridicule, and to kiss a man was to risk death. The world didn't just hate people like William. They actively tried to pretend that they didn't exist. Mm. And in 1896, the law struck again. Swann was arrested for keeping a disorderly house.
God.
Which was just a thinly veiled accusation suggesting that he ran a brothel. But there were no clients, no transactions. It was literally only a celebratory home. They only had gowns, dance, and refuge. And he was sentenced to 10 months in jail for it. And most would have accepted the punishment in silence. But William Dorsey Swann, Queen of Drag, did something unprecedented. He wrote to the President of the United States.
Oh, shit.
Swann's petition for a pardon to Grover Cleveland was the first known instance of an American legally asserting the right of queer people to gather.
Who the fuck is Grover Cleveland?
He's from New England, girl.
Fuck is Grover Cleveland?
Dude, look him up. He is very, I'm sure you've seen a picture of him, but he is just a very
I doubt it.
Generic. He looks like every drawing of a political cartoon
he
governor
looks like
ever.
Every other bitch. He was the 22nd and 24th U.S. president. Unbelievable. Who the fuck is this man?
I don't know. He's no friend to Elmo, that's for sure.
I hate to sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. If you're
I've never seen this man in my life.
I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
William wrote to old Grover that he had maintained a respectable, law-abiding life and that his punishment was cruel and unjust. 30 individuals, likely fellow members of his drag community, added their signatures. And this was in a time where even being seen with a drag queen could cost you your livelihood and freedom. So these signatures were definitely acts of bravery. Mm. We all know that the system was not moved.
Yeah.
The U.S. attorney's response was laced with disgust. Quote, the prisoner was in fact convicted of the most horrible and disgusting offenses known to the law. An offense so disgusting that it is unnamed, end quote. The pardon was denied. He put on a dress.
The
And was
fucking
gay.
pussy bitch, dude.
Isn't that all the Pabs, man? Washington's ran by Pabs.
God.
But you know what? Swan endured because he kept hosting balls,
Good.
he kept lifting others up, and he threaded joy into the seams of a world stitched with pain. And when he finally stepped away from the spotlight, his younger brother Daniel took over. He designed dresses, he began building people's confidence, and he took on the role of nurturing a world that was full of beauty and defiance that would survive for decades. William Dorsey Swann died in December 1925 back in Hancock, Maryland, and he was 65 years old. There was no candlelight vigil, no elegy, just the hiss of flames as officials torched his home.
Wait, what?
Yep. As the fabric of his gowns and the secrets that they held were too dangerous to outlive him. Just the hiss of flames as local officials burned down everything that he stood for, a final act of violence, and the secrets that they held went up in smoke, just as what they wanted his memory to be. And still to this day, there's no grave to visit, no plaque, and no stone with his name on it. But we refuse to forget Noel because in 2025, the 5-block stretch known as Swan Street in Northwest Washington, D.C., once likely named after a 19th century politician, was officially declared to honor the Queen of Drag himself, William Dorsey Swann. And where once his name was printed only to shame him, now it lives on as a monument. Channing Gerard Joseph, the journalist and scholar who uncovered Swann's story, calls him America's first queer freedom fighter.
Yeah.
In the book, House of Swan, Where Slaves Become Queens, Joseph reveals that Swann's drag balls were not just cultural artifacts. They were organized, communal, political uprising dressed in silk and lit by candlelight. They prefigured everything from Harlem's masquerade balls to today's ballroom categories and drag pageants. And Swann's influence echoes down through the decades. In the runway struts of Paris is Burning, please watch that.
Yeah.
The voguing arms of Pose and the sequined declarations of RuPaul's Drag Race and the quiet confidence of anyone who chooses to live openly despite the cost. His courage made space for joy where there was once only terror. And he proved that the oppressed could be regal, that to be seen was to survive. So William Dorsey Swann didn't just live history, he rewrote it. And if we've learned anything from this age of presidents posing as kings, as tyrants cloaked in liberty, then I say, bring on the queens. Let them lead in lace, let them rule in rhinestones, and let them be heard, be seen, and be known. Pour one out for old
Oh my
William
God,
Dorsey.
you got me crying, bitch.
Are you crying? Don't cry or I'll cry.
You're gonna have to cry, dude. Like,
Oh my God, it's coming then.
oh, it's just like to have history try to erase you so violently and so ruthlessly, and like your presence is bigger than that. It's bigger than history because it's like created this entire culture of people.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, it's like, yeah, you can like burn down his house and burn his dresses and put him in an unmarked grave and hope to never write about him, but like it didn't even matter because he transcended.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And every photo that you look up of him is just like pure joy. And he just wanted to share that and just like live and be happy in a time where like you would think that you would have full permission to not be happy. Like the boot is on your neck at every turn. And for all he wanted to do was just put on dresses and dance.
Well, and also just to like know the history of like drag moms and like drag houses and how they are this safe space for people to come to when they've been like rejected by society and their family, and they need community and they need love and they need support, and to like know that that is an entire subculture, right? And it's an entire part of society that is like built basically with its own language, style, like you know what I mean, like its own. And to know that like it really was birthed from someone who you know, this country tried so hard to eradicate. It's just that is such a
it hurts, right? That he died never having done like anything wrong, Like they say his laws, like his transgressions were so bad that the law didn't even name him. But it was like he wasn't doing anything wrong. That's why there's
Yeah.
no law. And then to like try to burn down his legacy. And for me, a street isn't enough. Obviously,
No.
it's not enough,
Yeah.
but there needs to be like a huge addendum to history where like
Yeah.
these people's stories start being told and added. And I feel fucking sick that I just found out about this guy
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sucks.
Me too. But it's just, I don't know. There's something poetic and beautiful that, like, despite all of this, it's almost like he's become as omnipresent as the wind. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
this whole drag culture like exists because of like him. And that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, the fact that like we were unaware of who he was, but we can still see his presence and the drag that we love and celebrate today. It's like, damn, dude, he did it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
that's really it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I really didn't expect that to be so heavy.
I know. I'm like hanging on by a thread. I'm like such a sympathetic crier.
I know you are. I was hoping you would. I just that is, I don't know what, and this is like the real American story. You know what I mean? Like this is the real American story to me. Like it's not a real American story to me isn't fucking Abraham Lincoln, bitch. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about Abraham Lincoln. I don't give a fuck about George Washington, his fucking slave teeth, man. I don't give a fuck about him. Like that's not the American story. Like the American story is like this beautiful resistance and this like building community and safety and just art and love in spite of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
it's
having everything taken from you and building everything from it. Like to have society take everything from you and then you just build a world despite it. That's unbelievable. That's really what they mean when they talk about the American dream. They don't talk about like, you know, drop shipping on Amazon and making $1 million a year. That's not it.
right.
Like, you know, this is a story of the American dream.
Yeah. And he stole books. Like he just I don't know. I hate that like right now the current narrative is like people coming here are criminals because they're not doing it legally, but it's like fuck dude, like how do you steal a better life for yourself? How do you steal opportunity and knowledge and how do you steal safety and how do you still like a space to just exist?
Yeah.
Like how they talk about like those are like the real crimes that you can't name.
Yep.
It's not putting on a dress. It's like fuck. You just want to be a person.
Yeah, you just want to be
in
a
the
human.
Space you occupy.
Yeah, you just want to be a human on Earth, man. That's it. That's all we're trying to do. Everyone's just trying to be a human on Earth. That's the thing that kills me, right? Kills me about like all of these horrific, violent atrocities that we like bring onto people because of these labels that we've made up and these borders that we've made up. What the fuck do you mean illegal? You know? What do you fucking mean? Like what? Like illegal where? We were all born here. We were all born on this fucking earth. No one chose it, but we're here.
It's like, are we going to look back on what we're doing now in the same way we're going to like look back on the atrocities during the Civil War and be like, what the fuck were we thinking?
Yes. Yes, dude. Oh my God. Everything is so... Let me use my plushie to wipe my eyes really quick. Everything is so fucking cyclical in the worst ways. Like, we talked about like McCarthyism, right? And like those trials, they're doing it again, dude. They're doing it again. And they're like doing it they're fucking posing it as like they're doing like trials to combat anti-Semitism, but it's like literally just, you know, pro-Palestinian fucking university students getting called to fucking congressional trials and being like, you know, having to like be like, what? I don't hate Jewish people. What the fuck do you mean? Like, I love Jewish people and I just don't like this Zionist regime and I don't like the state of Israel and I don't like that we're giving them fucking money to murder. I don't like that. I love Jewish people and I love Palestinian people and I think that they should exist. And the fact that we're doing it again. We're doing McCarthyism again, dude. It's like, it's all we repeat. We repeat. Yeah. It's so fucking crazy. It's so crazy. And then this, you know, this is the 1800s. We're doing it again. We're doing it again. Elon Musk has more fucking kids than there are trans athletes in like high school. And
Yeah.
yet the entire administration right now is like making it seem like that's the biggest pressing fucking issue. And it's so sick and twisted. It's like the same shit.
I think this helped, learning this story helped me, because sometimes when you hear those quotes of like, what side of history will you be on? And I'm like, fuck, I might not be a Harriet Tubman. Like, am I going to leave some long lasting crater of like my impact on the good that I did in this world? And I'm like, well, I may not be like a John Brown abolitionist or a Sojourner Truth or a Harriet Tubman, but maybe I can be a William Dorsey Swann. Maybe I can just occupy space by being flamboyant, or like maybe I can attend these spaces and address, and maybe I can add my signature to something, even if I mean, those 30 people wrote their lives on the line trying to get him a pardon.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, it's hard when everything seems so dire, but like, even he had like the whole fucking world against him, and now his story's coming out. So it's like, what the fuck are they going to do to us? We have the power of social media where we can at least leave our mark out in space. I can drop ship those dresses to my house too, babe. So burn them down. I'll just get 15 more off the internet. So I think it is dire. It is shitty. But it was upon reading a book by a gay Black man that brought me to this. And I think that's like one of the gifts that you've given me, was just the knowledge or like just the insight of like, what am I choosing to consume? Am I like actively being educated? And so I thank you for that, because I think without you starting the ball rolling with Armed Queers, I may not have ever stumbled upon this story.
I'm so glad you did. And you would have anyway. I think like there's always we talked about it on Patreon when we got a little deep into it, when we said like why we don't just want to give up on America, because it's people like this that are in it. And like people like this actually is what makes this country beautiful. And that's really what's cowboy about it. This story is fucking American cowboy. You know what I mean? Like that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like in the face of violent oppression, there will always be beautiful acts of resistance. And that's it. That's the tale as old as time. Apparently, fucking 1800s.
I look forward to more stories that this will potentially open up, because there's got to be other acts in history that we just haven't been taught about yet.
Absolutely. I am 32 years old, and I am just now learning about the true people's history of the United States. The reason why I'm able to sit here today and talk into this microphone and, hold my little trinkets. There's a whole history of this that was erased or sanitized and fed to us, and it's not even close to what actually is. So this is fantastic. This is beautiful. Thanks for doing this, Chelsea. Thanks for informing all of us.
Oh, thank you for starting the journey of opening my eyes to the media we consume.
And thanks to Bob the Drag Queen for making making one of the most insane sounding books in the world, but just absolutely iconic and unbelievable and fantastic. Speaking of, you can also do something fantastic, which is go to the link tree that's in all of our bios. I am at Noelle Fain. That is at Sithlard. We are at Go to Hell Podcast. And in there, you can find a link to AFSC Palestine, which tells you how to help the people in Palestine, both financially, non-financially, if you have resources, if you don't, and just educate yourself and learn, right? That's what we're here to do. You can also find a link to our Patreon. $1 gets you in. Shout out Patreon. Beautiful stuff on Patreon today. You're gonna see some things, and we need you to not judge us about it. So, right. Especially a hot take that I forgot that I dropped on everyone. And
you know what? Is it a hot take, or is it just about time people learn the truth?
I don't even want to say it here because I don't want to deal with that wrath.
You got to pay $1 for that.
Yeah, you got to pay $1 to fucking drag me. Anyway, we also have a link to our merch where 100% of proceeds are donated. We have that cool fucking Saints design that Kelly Holloran did, so check that out. And we just have a bunch of cool merch in general. Summer's around the corner for us here in North America, so get a little crop top that says something politically charged on it, show up to the family barbecue, let them know.
If you donate money to a cause and want the artwork for free, we'll send it to you so you can just screen print that. You can use an iron and do a heat transfer at home.
Yep.
Just let us know.
Yep. Speaking of Kelly, you can also find a link to Kelly Holloran or at Wildwood L on Etsy. She makes cool shit for us and she makes cool shit in general, so go check her out. And we have a link to our Discord server. That's where we hang out. Come hang out with us. Come chat with us. We have a bunch of different channels in there talking about everything from politics to anime to, which I didn't even realize, there's like a fucking NSFW section in our fucking Discord server. I had no idea.
I'm too scared to click into it.
You should be. So that's there though. And then we have a link to YouTube where you can bully us in the comments, and I don't know why you'd need it, but we have them here, which are links to listen to us, which is anywhere podcasts are heard.
Nice.
I'm going to go ahead and give a hail to Satan, of course, because we have to backtrack on that. We have to come back around to that because we're in a time.
Don't forget where you came from, Noelle.
Yeah, I'm not going to forget my roots. And it feels appropriate given the world at large, given the fact that Gwen Stefani is a fucking given the fact
here's a hot take. I never liked her when she did her whole Harajuku thing. I thought it was just fucking noise.
Yeah.
I fucking thank you, Mom and Dad, for giving me the most generic education on music whatsoever, so I could say with my full chest that I never liked Gwen Stefani.
Let him have it, girl. It's disappointing for me because Tragic Kingdom is one of my favorite albums. No doubt, it's fantastic. I would be lying if I said I wasn't down for the Harajuku phase, but I'm a foreign person. I know it's cultural appropriation. It was weird that she had a whole gaggle of Japanese girls. That was fucking crazy. That part of it was crazy, but I bought the
perfume for a friend who was really into it. So I helped give her money.
And I know that Lamb, her clothing line also kind of served cunt, but I also know that she's a fucking bitch. And I also know that she is an appropriator. Clearly, she bought and paid for a harem to follow her around so she could cosplay as Japanese.
She's trying to charge people to do Lent. We haven't
gotten to that part of her story yet. So that's where she was. And now Gwen Stefani and her fucking buckle fat removal shit ass fucking horse teeth veneers are sitting on some Catholic app called Hollow that makes you pay to pray, bitch. Pay to pray. And she's there doing the devil's work, I'm assuming. And it's also funny if you watch The Righteous Gemstones, it feels very relevant because they poke fun of megachurches. They made a prayer pod that you have to pay to go in to pray it. And I was like, that's Gwen Stefani, bitch. So anyway, I'm going to do, I did a Hail Satan in spite of Gwen Stefani. And then I'm going to give a fuck Gwen Stefani with my whole chest. Fuck Gwen Stefani. I'm claiming Tragic Kingdom as my own. It's not yours anymore. You can't fucking have it. You appropriated Japanese culture and you appropriated Chicano culture, and now you're back to your roots being a fucking crusty old white bitch, and you look like shit because you finally accepted yourself for what you are, which is a miserable old cunt. So have fun with your $15 a day to pray on your little fucking stupid app. I hope that Blake Shelton money is running up dry, and that's why you've got to fucking do this shit, you fucking grifter. So that's what I have to say about that. What do you do?
I'm gonna hail that. I'm gonna hail what Noelle had to say about that.
Yeah. I don't even like to pray. I don't like prayer. I don't like organized religion, but I think it's your right to have it. But I don't think it's your right to charge people for it. I think you should rot in fucking hell. You should rot in hell, Gwen Stefani, and your fuck ass tight ponytail, you fucking bitch. God.
I hope you choke on that tight ponytail. I hope you get a tension baldness.
I know she does. I know she's fucking bald under.
You got that JoJo Siwa ass.
Yeah.
Tension baldness ass bitch.
Oh.
Oh, I'm getting all riled up.
I know. Fuck her and her fucking horse veneers, bitch. I hope that by you get that scamming ass grifter money and you fix your fucking horse teeth. Nay, bitch. I hope they turn that horse into fucking glue. Okay. Get out of here. I'm gonna get myself a fucking aneurysm.
All right. Bye.
Bye.